All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashiach, Malak Yahushai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God. Yahushai being the name of his beloved Son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus. All right. All praise to the Most High. This is the brother Yair Radha, the WFI Indiana camp, coming at y'all with a cold cut through the spirit, right? WFI late night, man. Right? WFI late night, right? Salakia. All right, there we go. Right. So WFI late night, man. All right. If you on the West Coast somewhere, or somewhere down south, or if you on the East Coast somewhere and you just up right now, all praise to the Most High. We gonna get into this, man. We gonna dive into some precepts, dive into some scriptures, man. If the Lord, you might have been asleep, but you woke up. The Lord woke you up, man. You started getting you some reading in, whatever the case may be. Right, we're gonna hop into the precepts, hop into the scriptures. Right, this is gonna be a video on the righteous shall scarcely be saved. All right, because that's how it's gonna happen. Like, we gotta start remembering in these last days that nothing is just given to you. Like, this is not just going to be given to you in its truth. Right, you got to work for these different things. Right, you got to work for these different things in the last days, and you got to make sure that constantly you understand. You actually, let me get this precept real quick in the book of Second Esdras, right, chapter 9. Right, we bring this out all the time, right? But the main point that I want in it is how it tells you to measure the time diligently, right? It's the book of Second Esdras. And Salaki, Shabbat Shalom too to everybody tuning in. All praise to the Most High, right? Shabbat Shalom. All right, Lord willing, brothers and sisters, having a mighty Shabbat so far. And Lord willing, it continues on, right, today. Right. But this is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 9, and verse 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. So when it says measure thou the time diligently in itself, man, and that's what you got to do daily. So you got to do every day, all day. You have to measure the time diligently. How are you measuring the time diligently? Right, by what? Obviously, you watching the different prophecies come to pass. You checking them off. You reading the precepts. You understanding the scriptures, the prophecies, and seeing the things that's going on throughout the earth. Understanding that when you see these different prophecies and different things come to pass, and you see the upwards of the people, you understand the groups being formed, the kings of the east, right? You got the west, so on and so forth. All these different things coming to pass. You understand that the Lord is that much closer. You understand, to making his second coming, and ultimately, like I tell brothers all the time, it's like every single day when you go to sleep and then you wake back up, that's literally one day closer to the Lord coming back, man. Now think about all the times you done went to sleep, woke up, went to sleep, woke up, went to sleep, woke up. Hey, each and every single day, you literally getting that much closer and closer to that day, man. So you got to make sure you measuring the time diligently in itself, right? Not just with the prophecies, but also, let me get this let's get another precept. So like it. All right, let's go to the book of Ephesians. All right, chapter 5. So like it. All right, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, and I want verse we'll start at verse 14. All right, this is the book of Ephesians. All right, Salakia. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, and verse 14. And it reads, Wherefore he saith, Awake, thou that sleepest. Right? And a lot of our people got to wake up in these last days, man. Jake and Eve, hey, you got to wake up, man. A lot of our people, they claim they woke. The people in the world, even Jake that know that they're Israelite, they'll walk past and scream Judah, or walk past and scream, whatever. But are you doing the things that you supposed to be in these last days? Are you trying to take each and every step closer to serving Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, sincerity and in truth, to the best of your ability? Are you making your next move your best move? Right? A lot of people, like I like to say, man, a lot of people be sleepwalking, man. Right? They're not really woke for real. A lot of people be sleepwalking in this thing. You kind of know you an Israelite, right? You know you an Israelite. You know what tribe you from, but after that, I mean, it's just you still a niggard, man. You still a niggard. You just a niggard that know that you an Israelite, right? And know what tribe you from, or you just a woman not that's not shamefaced. You still little, I don't know, whatever in the world, whatever your nickname was in the world. You still Eve. You still that. You just a woman that knows she's an Israelite now from whatever tribe. You feel me? But you're not carrying yourself in that manner. You're not really awake. Instead, you sleep still. You just sleepwalking instead. You understand? And we have to remove ourselves from that and actually wake up and take the eyesalves away and actually open your eyes, man. Because when you sleepwalk, guess what? You can run in this, you can pump in the walls, run into different stuff. You doing stuff you don't really know what's going on or what you doing around. You kind of just doing stuff, right? Jacob even these last days got to wake up, man, open their eyes, right? But it says, wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepeth, and arise from the dead, and Hamashiach, so like, and Hamashiach shall give thee light. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Here's the point. It says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. It said, redeeming the time. And that's what you got to do, man. You got to always redeem the times that we in right now. Right? You got to always redeem yourself. Redeem how you move each and every single day, man. You have to bring that forward. Let's see if this will work for me. Right? I'll try to share my screen, Lord willing. All right, let's see if this will work for me. Bear with me. Let's try to get that definition of the word. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see what's up. All right. All right. Here you are, right? It says redeem, right? Compensate for faults or bad aspects of something, right? Well, look at this right here. It says gain or regain possession of something. You see that? Gain or regain possession of something, right? Reclaim, repossess, retrieve, regain, recover, right? So guess what? Is letting you know that what? Hey, we have to constantly and always, you understand, regain and understand and always stay in the spirit and regain the times that we living in. It should never go a day where you kind of like, man, dang, I didn't even know what was going on, or you just was out the spirit all day. Nah, you got to constantly, every single day, redeem the times that we living in. You understand? Understanding the days that we living in and that the days draw nigh the coming of our King. Right? It's yet a little while. You understand? Let me get that real quick. Right? In the book of Isaiah. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 56. In verse 1, it says, thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come and my righteousness to be revealed. You see that? So we have to always remember that and move accordingly. and move as such. You understand? Not just are you just moving however you want to move or whatever you want to do. You kind of just like, it is what it is. This that is that spirit of it is what it is, man. We dealt with a spirit like that today at camp. Everything was, well, it is what it is. You want to get the kingdom of heaven, brother? It is what it is. You want to get destroyed by your maker? It is what it. You can't move like that, man. Right? Because if you moving like that, death and destruction is going to be coming your way, right? And you don't want that, and we don't want that for you, man. So in these last days, we got to remember to always redeem the times that we living in. Right? Let's go to the book of First Peter. Right, and get the classic about, right? It's the book of First Peter, so like chapter 4 and verse 18, right? It says, and if actually I'm gonna start at 17, Salakin, right? It says, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of God, right? Because the Lord is going to start with us at the end of the day, right? The Lord is always going to deal, you understand, with the church, man. These different things is what's going to come, you understand, to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and judgment will come swift, right? It says, and if the, or Salakia, right? Verse 17 again, it says, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God, man? What's going to be the latter end of those that don't eat, that's not taken into account, you understand, the things that we do, man, or the things that the Lord told us to do, rather? What's going to be the end of those? Well, guess what? We already know the end of those, right? It's going to be death and destruction. You understand? But let's keep reading. Here's the point. It says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? You see that? It said, if the righteous shall scarcely be saved. Because guess what? It's going to be, we going to barely make it out. If we even make it out, Lord willing, man. But it's going to be barely, man. It's going to be when you holding on, right? It might be Jacob's trouble. You understand? You at the end of this thing, and you just trying to hold on to whatever you can hold on to. You understand, spiritually, and you relying off all the faith that you stocked up during this time period, and just continuing on and continue on, and right when you just like, man, and the Lord, you understand, his second coming to be there, Abaratazah, right? So that's what we have to always understand and remember, that if the righteous is scarcely going to be saved, what's the point of this precept that I'm bringing out? What's the point of this video? You got to do more, because whatever you're doing, guess what? It's not enough. It's not good enough. You can go harder. You know you can go harder, and guess what? The Lord know you can go harder, man. So in these last days, what do we got to do? We got to start going harder, and whatever it is that you do for the Lord. Whether you pray, you was praying 2 times a day. You pray when you woke up, right? Then you pray when you went to sleep at night. Guess what, brother? You could do more. You could do more, sister, right? Okay, now you kick it up to 3 prayers, right? You pray when you wake up. You pray at like 12 o'clock p.m. or sometime in the middle of the day. You get a prayer in at 3 o'clock, right? Now, you pray when you go to sleep, right? That's 3 prayer. Or you bump up from 3 prayers, boom, you go to 5 prayers. You get one when you wake up, you get one at 12, you get one at 3 o'clock, you get one at 6 o'clock, then you get one when you go to, you just could, continue to build, right? But you can always do more. And that's what we got to do in these last days, man. Have to continue to do more, right? Because to whom much is given, much is required. And the Lord gave everybody, you understand, talents. And the Lord is going to require those things of you in the last days, right? Let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 2. Or first, let's go to the book of, real quick first. Still go to the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 17, the classic, right? Real quick, right? It says, pray without ceasing. And that's what we got to do in the last days. We got to make sure that we praying without ceasing. That's continually, as much as you can, you should throw up prayers. Because first of all, you don't know if the one prayer that you did throw up is being received by the Most High God. You might have had all type of sins on you. You probably ain't repent yet, right? Whatever the case may be. So it would be wise or meet to throw up multiple prayers, right? Let me get this other precept, right? Actually, before I get that, right, let's go to the book of Mark. Because not only do we got to make sure we praying in these last days, right, and doing more prayers, but let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 2. It's the book of Mark, chapter 2, and verse 18, right? It says, and the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fast. And they came, and they come and say unto him, why do the disciples of John and of the Pharisees fast, but thy disciples fast not? And Yahushua said unto them, can the children of the bridegroom fast while the bridegroom is with them? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. Meaning, meaning while the Lord was there with them in the flesh, you understand? Hey, that was their time to take advantage of why he was there. You understand? Everything that they needed from them. You understand? Right there in their arms, right there in their hands, right there to be able to reach out and to touch. Whatever blessing, whatever question, so on and so forth. Prayer, all these different things. Hey, the Lord prayed for the apostles, man. The Lord prayed for the people, his people. You understand? The one that the Lord gave to him, right? You read about that in John 17, right? But reading on, it says, but the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then they shall fast in those days. Guess what? The bridegroom has been taken away from us, man. We're not living during the time of the bridegroom being on the earth. The bridegroom has been taken away, which is Yahweh Shai. So what should we be doing in these last days? Fasting, right? While we're praying without ceasing, man, as much as we can in these last days, guess what? We got to make sure we fasting as well, man. That's a very important element in this truth. You understand? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. All right. It's the book of Isaiah. It's the book of Isaiah. I want chapter 58 and verse Isaiah 58 and verse. I'm gonna get right to the point. Verse 6. Right. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 58 and verse 6. It says, is not this the fast that I had chosen to loose the bands of wickedness? Right. So one of the reasons you fast is to loose the bands of wickedness, man. Right. When you going through the things that you're going through, you got these different spirits that may hop on you and try to plague you. You understand, so on and so forth, whatever the case may be. You kind of got a spirit that you're dealing with. You're trying to get that spirit removed from you. You may have been around some brothers or some sisters and the spirit hopped on you. You may have been around a family, a spirit kind of hopped on you, and you got to loose that from you. How do you do it? Through prayer and fasting. It's one of the things that fasting is for, to loose the bands of wickedness, man. Right? Again, it says, is not this the fast that I had chosen to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? And you got to break them yokes, man. Tear them yokes of wickedness from off of you, those chains of wickedness that try to grab you and try to have you in a straitjacket, man. What they say in the world, got you in a chokehold, man. All right. How do you remove those different things? By praying and fasting. Even Yahweh himself taught that, right? Let's get that real quick. In the book of Matthew, chapter 17. All right. In verse 21. All right. It says, actually, I'm going to start at 19. All right. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 19. It says, then came the disciples to Yahweh apart and said, why could not we cast him out? You may be dealing with something. All right. I don't know what you're dealing with, but you know what you deal with, Jake. You know what you're dealing with, Eve. Right? You might be dealing with something and you steady telling yourself, man, why can't I shake this thing, man? I'm reading the scriptures every day. I'm cutting myself with the scriptures every day. What's going on? Well, brother, you got to fast. You got to pray. You got to pray without prayer is good with fasting. You understand? Like you reads in the book of Tobit. All right. You got to loose those bands of wickedness. Right. And Christ, that's what Christ is going to tell them. Right. It says, and Yahweh Shai said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall be removed, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Now, real quick, before we get the next verse, I want to get another precept real quick in John, in in James, because Christ told them, right, something important as well about faith, right? The Mashiach just spoke on it, right? This is the book of James, chapter 1, and verse. This whole chapter good, right? I'm gonna just start at verse 5. All right, it's the book of James 1 and 5. It says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally, meaning freely. It says, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. Right? So you got to understand that when you do pray for whatever you pray for, whether that be the Lord to remove something from you, whether that be the Lord to build you up in the air, whatever the case may be, you understand, you have to realize and understand, you got to have faith that the Lord will do it for you. You can't half-ass it straight up. You can't be like, man, I've been dealing with this for this long, man. I hope the Lord can. I don't know. This might just be my thorn. You always damn looking at something like it's the thorn in your side, like Paul. Everything is just a thorn. Brother, you smoking weed is not the thorn in your side, brother. You just need to pray and fast on the matter, man. And ask the other brothers and sisters to pray for you, man. And remove away from that spirit, man. Everything is not a damn. People be using that like it's just like, no, you do. Jake walking around, I'm gonna just put it like this. Look, Jake walking around with 30 thorns in a side. It shouldn't be like that. You gotta snatch them things out, man. Right? But we can go back to Matthew chapter 17, right, and finish that in verse 21. Right? It says, howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. You see that? So prayer and fasting in the last days is very important, man. The Lord told us straight up that, hey, when the bridegroom is gone, then they shall fast. And guess what? He's gone, man. So you got to get your fasting life in order. All right. However much you do it, whether you kind of get in there once a month, or you get in there, once every 2 weeks, or you get in there once a week, you get in there 2 times a week, however, you could do it, that's sufficient for you. And that, you understand that, you can get in there, you understand, and it help you, right? It shouldn't just be you fast once a year, and that's on the Day of Atonement. It's the only time you fast, right? You just letting all them spirits just build up. All them spirits, they just building up, being late. You just laden with iniquity, right? All because you don't want to fast, man. You talking about you hungry and your knees is weak. Yeah, it's supposed to be like that. It's you denying your flesh, you understand, and magnifying your spirit unto the Lord, man. It's you being lowly and meek unto the Most High God, man. You understand? Putting sackcloth and ashes upon your head, right? So that's a part of, guess what? Redeeming the time. That's a part of measuring the time diligently. That's a part of understanding that, hey, the righteous shall scarcely be saved, right? So if you out here being wicked, being abominable unto the Lord, then what is it going to be for you, man? What does that mean for you? Right? Mr. Can't get right. Mrs. Can't get right. What does that mean for you, man? That means you need to go harder in these last days. You need to go as hard as you can, man. Understanding and redeeming the time, right? Consistently, right? Let's go to the book of Revelations, right? It's the book of Revelations, chapter 3 and verse 15, right? The classic, right? This is Revelations chapter 3 and verse 15. And it says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would that thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Right. So the Lord, that's like drinking, like we say it all the time. That's like drinking lukewarm coffee. Nobody likes coffee it's kind of cold, but it's kind of warm. Right. No, that's an undesirable taste. That's a taste that people don't find fond. They're not too fond of, right? It's not a comely taste. You understand? So that same exact way, guess what? The Lord, man, hey, he don't want that. So we have to understand that we don't want to be lukewarm in these last days, right? And we understand that 365 days a year you're not going to be on fire, but damn it, you got to be close to it as much as you can in these mortal bodies that we in, that's made to just be try to be contrary unto the Lord. But with all your might, you have to make sure that you trying your best and your hardest to make your calling and election sure in these last days, like I tell you about in the book of First Peter, man. Right. So let's go to the book of Psalms. Right, chapter 39. Going back into the point of what? Hey, you might see, not might, but you're gonna be scarcely be saved, man. If it be the Lord's will that you get saved in the first place, that I get saved in the first place, right? Lord willing, we all make it. You understand? But if we do make it, hey, it's gonna be like that, man. So we have to understand that as well as with this, right? It's the book of Psalms, chapter 39 and verse 5. Yeah, verse 5, it says, behold, thou hast made my days as a hand braideth, and mine age is as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best estate, is altogether vanity. Salah. You see that? It said, verily, every man at his best estate is altogether vanity. So understanding that, guess what, brother? Whatever you thought was you going hard, hey, it's another level that you can reach. It's another level that you can attain in the last days, right? That the Most High God know that you can unlock, and that you know you can unlock. If you haven't even been going as hard as you know that, if you haven't even been going hard at all, you understand that, hey, you got to get with it. You got to get back on track, you know. And us being in these bodies and in these in this flesh, man, stuff like that, it may happen. You understand? It does happen, but it's about seeing it, right? And once you see it through examination and through, hey, you got to be real with yourself. You can't say, oh man, yeah, it's all right, I'm just doing this, or it's always an excuse. Now you can't do that. You have to see it, you have to examine it, see it, right? And hey, fix the problem. Right, you don't want to be like how I tell you in the book of Proverbs, right? There's a man that says there's a lion in the street, there's a lion in the way. Basically saying a man that comes up with an excuse for everything. Paraphrasing. Right? So man altogether at his best estate is what? A vanity. Right? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 13. Because Jake got to remember, man, and Eve, that you can't play with the Lord forever. Right. And that should have us walking on eggshells at the end of the day, understanding that, hey, you don't know when your last sin is your last sin. You don't know what sin is your last one. You don't know when that mercy is going to run out from the Lord. You understand? So with knowing and understanding that, right, we got to make sure that, hey, every move that we make is our best move. right? You got to gain and maintain. You got to be better today than you was the day before, continuously trying. You continuously trying to just be better than you was the day before, right? Always growing in the spirit, right? Like you read about in the book of Luke chapter 2 and verse 40, right? It's the book of Luke chapter 13 and verse 6, right? It says, he spake also this parable: a certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit thereon and found none. It says, then he said unto the dresser of this vine, is it so like of his vineyard, behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree. It's like it. It's like it. I came seeking fruit on this fig tree and find none. Cut it down. Why it cumbereth it the ground. So you may have been in this thing for a time. It may be 3 months, right? A year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, right? You don't want to get to the point to where, hey, the Lord is continuing to visit you and you have no fruit to offer, or your fruit is not right. It got all type of dents in it. It got a damn worm going through the middle of it. It's undesirable fruit. You don't want it to be undesirable fruit. And you also don't want it to you don't want to not yield any fruit. You understand? It says, verse 8, and he answering said unto him, Lord, let it alone this year also, till I shall dig about it and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well, and if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down. Right? So, hey, if you feel like that, you're not going as hard as you could be, or there's areas that you can clean up through prayer, fasting, being real with yourself, examination, confessing your faults, asking other brothers to pray for you. You understand? Then hey, those are the things that you need to do, or else, hey, if the Lord Yahweh Shah plead for you. But then guess what? If they come back that one more time, man, you understand, and it's still bringing forth no fruit, or you bringing forth abominable fruit that's not right, then guess what? Hey, they're gonna just root you out the earth, man. They're gonna root you out the earth, right? That axe is going to be laid to the tree, right? Let's get there real quick in the book of Matthew chapter 3. All right, it's the book of Matthew chapter 3, and I want verse 10, right? It's the book of Matthew chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewed down and cast into the fire. You see that? So you don't want to be that tree who the Lord, you understand, he kind of pleaded for you. Yahweh Shai pleaded for you. The Most High was going to root you out. But Yahweh Shai, he pleaded for you. Like, you know what? Hey, just leave it alone. Give it a little bit more time, right? Give that brother a little bit more time. Give that sister a little bit more time. And if you come back and it still ain't no fruit, hey, then you can take it out. Don't be that brother. Don't be that sister, man. They took advantage of that last time. You had the Lord gave you another opportunity and you took advantage of it, and not in a good way. But instead, right? Hey, you fell by the wayside, right? You brought forth that abominable fruit, or you didn't bring forth fruit at all. You understand? Let's go to the book of Second Esdras. All right. Go to the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16. Second Esdras chapter 16 and verse 16. We'll start at 16, right? 16 to 16. Right? Because the righteous scarcely being saved, right? Watch this. Right? It says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Meaning the word of the Lord that was spoken from the Most High. Hey, these things are going to happen. These plagues is going to come to the earth. These prophecies is going to come to pass. The Lord gathering these nations together and having the downfall, you understand, of Babylon, aka America. You understand these things are going to happen. With that being said, right, it says, verse 17, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, man? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, and the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So even Ezra was like, man, what? Because he's seeing these different things. And even he's looking at it like, man, what's going to happen to me? Who's going to save me in that day? What's going to happen to me? What's going to be my latter end? You understand? So even, let me see if, see if I can get this other precept as well in the book of, listen, Jeremiah. All right. I believe it's Jeremiah. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 19. Right? It says, my bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. Destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled, and my curtains in a moment. So these different things that the prophets seen or that they experienced, it wasn't like even they were fearful at times of these different things, right? So how do you think it's going to be for you? And in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 7, it said, hey, it shall be a time, right, that has never been upon the face of the earth. Let's just pull it real quick. In Jeremiah chapter 30, right, we'll get right to the point in verse 7. Right, it's the book of Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, at last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. It said none like it, right? It said so that none is like it. No time is going to be like the time that we're going to witness during the time of Jacob's trouble, man. Right? And during that time, you have to understand, you got to stock up on faith in these last days. Make sure that you're going as hard as you can in these last days as well. Let's get that in the book of Isaiah, classic, right? Book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 6, right? This Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. You see that? What's fearing the Lord? Keeping the commandments. Having that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, hey, that's going to be the stability of thy times during that time frame, even during now. You understand? But with that understanding that the righteous is scarcely going to be saved, right? So what's going to be the end? You understand? Hey, for the unrighteous, death and destruction, right? And for you, hey, you got to make sure that you end up, Lord willing, it's all in the hands of the Lord, but you got to make sure that you end up on the right side of that. Because even then, it's going to be, you scarcely going to be saved, man. Right? Just going kind of get in there. Right? Let's get that in the book of Matthew, chapter 22 and 14. Right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 22 and verse 14. It says, for many are called, but few are chosen. So just because you called into this thing, just because you know you're an Israelite, from the tribe of Benjamin, or you're an Israelite from the tribe of Naphtali or Judah or whatever the case may be. Hey, that don't yeah, all praise to the Most High. You found out the knowledge of who you are, you understand, but it's more to it than that, right? It's a lot more to it than that, right? Let's get that in the same thing in the book of Second Esdras, chapter 8. All right, this is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 8, and verse 3. All right. It's the book of Second Esdras 8 and 3. It says, there be many created, but few shall be saved. Many people are created, man. You have millions and millions and millions upon millions of Israelites upon the face of the earth. Right? There be many created, but few shall be saved. Verse 4, it says, so answered I and said, swallow then down, O my soul, understanding and devour wisdom. So understanding and knowing that many are called, but few are chosen, understanding and realizing that, hey, there be many created, but only few are going to be saved. Understanding that we living in the end times, understanding that you have to measure the times diligently in itself, understanding that you have to make sure that you redeem in the times constantly, understanding that you have to examine yourself, that you have to go as hard as you can. You got to check yourself sometimes or all the time, whatever the case is. Understanding those different things, hey, you have to swallow down wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which make up what? Ultimately, the commandments, how to move, faith in the Most High God and His Son, understanding that you got to fear the Most High God in His eyes more than you fear man, right? Because you might think that you might do something, right? And whatever you're doing, not understanding that the Lord is watching you through the angels, but you'll fear what man to see, right? You'll fear what this person to see or what that person to see, not understanding that the eyes that you need to be fearing are the eyes of the Lord. All right, let's get that in the book of what is that? Sirach 23. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 23, and verse 18. It says, a man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am thus, Salakia. I am compassed about with darkness, the walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. You see that? So you have to realize and understand that, hey, the Lord is always watching you. And if the Lord is always watching you, guess what? You have to always, I'm going to keep saying it, redeem the time in these last days, move accordingly, understanding that you living in the end times and that our King is on his way, right? And I'm going to leave it off with this precept right here, or two precepts real quick, right? Two precepts real quick. Let's go to the book of 2 Peter. All right, this is the book of 2 Peter chapter 2, or Salakia. This is the book of 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fail, man. So in these last days, we got to make sure that we making our calling and our election sure, man. And making sure that whatever we doing, we trying to do it with all our might. Because at the end of the day, it's sacrifices unto the Most High God, man. right? What are you doing? You giving up a spiritual sacrifice unto the Lord. And you don't want to give up a weak sacrifice. You don't want to give up a sacrifice that's not pleasing in the sight of the Lord, offering damn strange fire. If you got ears to hear spiritually, you understand, right? So make your calling and election sure in these last days by understanding that the righteous scarcely gonna be saved. So that means you got to do all that you can do to make sure that you get, you kind of get in the door, right? If it be the Lord's will, right? This is the book of Revelations, chapter 3 and verse 2. It says, "Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain." Strengthen those things. If you know where you weak at, you understand? If you know what these different things that you struggle, and you have to strengthen those areas. A boxer, a good boxer, not just, you feel me, Ryan Garcia, not the name of, but a good boxer, what does he do? Right? He boxes, and as he boxes, or as he trains rather, what do? They'll work on their weaknesses, right? Whatever their weaknesses are, they'll work on those things and do what a great boxer will turn it into his strengths, right? So he's going to strengthen those different areas, and you got to make sure you strengthen in your areas, man. Because Satan, man, if Satan keep hitting you in the same spot, you keep leaving that body shot open right there. And he know that every time you gonna lift that arm up, and every time you lift that arm up, he gonna get you. He getting you in the same spot every time, and you're not strengthening it. You're not countering it. You're not blocking that. What are we doing? Right? So we got to make sure that, like the scripture said, right, be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die, for I have not found thy works perfect before God, man. Right? And we got to strive to be perfect every day, like he commanded us to, right? Be therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect, right? And in order to do that, we got to go as hard as we can in these last days, whether that be you giving alms, whether that be reading, praying, fasting, studying, whatever the case may be, right? Maximize your talents in these last days. Go as hard as you can, right? And understand and realize, right, the times that we living in, right? So with that, all praise to the Most High God, family, right? Kwam Yasha Allah, Lord willing, I might do another video right after this, if it be the Lord's will, right? But Kwam Yasha Allah, family, Shalom, all praise to the Most High.